another ASMR video. Now, this one is for Sandra. Now, as you all probably know, I was talking about the great David Lynch a while back, and I mentioned that there was one of his movies that absolutely terrified me when I was a kid, and but I didn't reveal the title, so that's what I'm going to do, is talk about it a little bit more in depth today. Now, first of all, I'm going to drink. It's a drinking video, and there's a new Prime. I'm going to be giving this a try. The new Prime has got UFC on it, and it's I think it's a tropical drink. So we're gonna be drinking this. Let's open this up. It must be a new one because it's got the dreaded hanging on cap, which I hate. Oh, it smells nice. As always, I've got skeleton, the eyebrow, and the ball. You can most probably hear as well, you know, it's mega windy here in the UK, so I do apologise if that's loud, but yeah, we have got a lot of wind here in the UK at the moment. Now, let's first of all have a little sip of this, because it is what a beautiful colour as well. Look, very tropical colour. I just wish now I was sitting on a beach with this without the wind. Let's have some waves coming in, although you can probably only hear the wind. But anyway, let's have a little swig of this, guys. I'm not a massive lover of it, if I'm honest. I don't like that. I do like their other ones. I don't know, it's got a bit of a, you know, those sweets you used to buy, you know, like the rubbery ones. It's all different colours, and had a really sort of artificial taste. There's a lot of sweetness, I think, in this. Yeah, it just doesn't quite do it for me, because it gives you this sort of aftertaste, and you can really sort of taste the sweeteners in it. Yeah, so not really for me. I'm not a big fan of it. Let's put it here though, because it looks good. Yeah, Prime. Okay, now the movie that terrified me as a child, and it is the only one, by the way, guys. It's the only film in history that ever frightened me, and it is a David Lynch movie. I've been reading the comments. Some people said it would be Mulholland Drive, but it actually wasn't that. By the time that came out, I was an adult. This came out in 1980, and the movie was The Elephant Man. Now, my dad had told me, because I was about 10 years old at the time, that because it was produced by Mel Brooks, and Mel Brooks has made the funniest comedies ever. And he deliberately didn't put his actual name to it. He just put Brooks Films, but it all got out in the papers that it was actually the Mel Brooks. So everyone immediately thought that the Elephant Man was going to be a comedy. And my dad was saying, oh, it's going to be funny. He's got John Hurt turns into an elephant and all this sort of stuff. And I thought, oh, good. Anyway, a few months later, when it actually came out, that wasn't what it was at all. It wasn't a comedy. In fact, it was a drama, a heavy drama. So, we put it on. We all watched it as a family, actually. I think it was me, my sister, my brother, my mum and dad, something like that anyway. One evening, it was actually in 1981 as well, I remember. Even though it was released in 1980, we watched it the following, year. It was 1981. Now also bear in mind that it was a AA back in the day when it first came out in British cinemas, which meant you couldn't go and see it if you was under 14. So, it had some kind of, there was obviously something about it for it to be a AA. So, it was, first of all, as I said, I'd watched every single horror film there was. I'd watched The Exorcist, I'd watched Rosemary's Baby, every Carrie, and I loved Carrie. Friday the 13th, Halloween, every horror movie going, and not one ever genuinely scared me. But this movie comes on, and first of all, it's got this. It's just a black screen with white writing for the credits, and it's playing this music, creepy, sort of old-fashioned, almost. Circus music, sideshow music, and I thought, okay, this is okay, and then it sort of puts this picture up of this really beautiful woman and closes in on the eyes, and all of a sudden you have this noise, this sort of thum, 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 and there's all these elephants walking along in slow motion in black and white as well. The film was black and white. You then see these elephants all swipe at someone, and then this woman falls to the ground, but as she falls, it's in slow motion, but as she's falling in slow motion, it's also sort of blurring, and this elephant is doing goodness knows what at the time. I couldn't tell what it was doing. I thought, well, is it just attacking her, with his trunk? And she's sort of screaming and moving her face from left to right, and it's all blurring and everything. And, it sort of came across as a sort of horror movie. It was very, very, because then what you get is this sort of cloud of smoke, and then you can hear a baby crying. It then sort of goes to the time when he was being exhibited in this freak show that was just across the road from the London hospital. Now, I knew all these places because I didn't live far from them. We used to drive past them all the time. So yeah, you had the London hospital, and it was basically, the doctor goes to look at him, but the show itself is being closed down, and there's all these women coming out going, oh dear, oh dear. So, I'm still sitting there watching. It then gets to a part where the doctor goes and asks for a private showing of the Elephant Man. So you then have Freddie Jones, brilliant actor, and he does the life is full of surprises, and it's all dark, and you got these lamps that are just like these fire lamps, gas lamps, and he goes on about what happened, which was, his mother got attacked by an elephant, whatever it is, anyway, he goes, the terrible Elephant Man, and like the Elephant Man is in there sitting by the fire warming himself up, but he's all in the darkness. So he says, stand up. He's like, he pounds his stick, says, stand up. And he gets up, and I can't make out what it actually looks like because you can't really see it properly, but you can see that from the sort of shape of his, his profile, he looks pretty bad. So you have that, and then there's this shot of Anthony Hopkins, who played Dr. Treves, and this tear runs down his eye. You've probably seen it, because he can't believe how horrific this guy looks. Anyway, Treves then, which was all true, asked the Elephant Man to come to the hospital so that he could show him off to all the other doctors. So again, you sort of just see him behind a curtain lit up, and all he sees is sort of shadow. You can't actually see what he looks like, but he then goes back to his, he's more like a keeper in the film, I believe, in true, the actual true life. The guy he did work with wasn't as evil as he's portrayed in the film. But anyway, that's another story. He goes back, and because, his owner doesn't know where he's been, he beats him with this cane, and anyway, the little boy who is also living with them goes and gets Dr. Treves to come and look at him because he's hurt. Anyway, it turns out he's got bronchitis. He also has been, injured, and the guy tells him it's because he's fallen over, which isn't the case. And then again, you can sort of see the side of his head ever so slightly, and it's just this big, massive sort of lump, and I'm thinking, what the hell does he look like, Anyway, he then goes to the hospital, and they eventually admit him into the hospital. And there's this woman, I can't remember the name of her, but she's now in Emmerdale. She was with, who was she with? The guy with the moustache, and the old guy. She was his girlfriend, and he ripped her off for her money. I can't think of his name now. Help me out here, English guys, UK people. Ted, also not Ted. Anyway, that woman is the woman in this film, and she was very, very young at the time. Anyway, she's there pushing this trolley, and then up the stairs, Dr. Treves is helping this guy his face and one eye hole cut out, and he's like this, and he's sort of, and you don't know what he looks like under there and everything else. Anyway, later on, because he's put in the isolation ward, and then another doctor, who is John Gielgud, brilliant cast in this movie, by the way, guys. And he said, why is he been put in the isolation ward? If he's incurable. He says, well, he's really deformed, heavily deformed, blah blah blah. Anyway, this woman again comes up with food, and he goes, I'll take this up to the patient in the isolation ward, would you? And she goes, okay. And so she hesitatingly, that's not the word, but you know what I mean, goes up into the isolation ward. So it's, again, she's outside the door with this food, not wanting to go in here at all, because he is in there. And this is all getting to me now. She opens the door, drops the plate, screams, and then you see him finally, and it's just got all these big massive lumps on his forehead, and his head comes out about 1.5 feet, and all his lip is up, and he's got all this growth around the side of his head, and it just looked so bad, and I thought, oh my goodness, it's horrible. And then what makes it worse is the film is so blooming sad as well. It's so depressing too. So not only do you have him looking the way he does, but also he's then sort of asked to speak and to sort of make it look like he's at least got some intelligence, so that they can let him stay there. But I don't know what it is, because what was really weird is a movie come out that year called Friday the 13th Part 2, and I watched that over and over again. It was one of my favourite films, and in that you have Jason Voorhees, who wears this big white sack over his head, one eye cut into the thing, and eventually at the end, when you do see him, he's got all these lumps as well, and he's all deformed, but it didn't bother me at all. I do not know. All I can think is my little brain, my little 10-year-old brain, wasn't used to seeing things like that outside of a horror movie. Because when it was a horror movie, or because it does sort of appear as a horror movie, it comes across as that at the beginning, I thought, oh, this is alright. I was, tense and stuff, but that was it, and I thought, oh, but then it sort of turns into this horrible sort of drama, and like the music in it is awful. There's like one bit where he's there, this is when he's got his own place there, and all these people come in, and he's the night porter, and he's played by someone brilliant who's out of Quadrophenia, and I can't think of his name either, but he's a brilliant actor. I'm really sorry for not remembering his name, but he's the dad in Quadrophenia, plus other things, and he brings all these people round who pay him to come and see the Elephant Man, and the Elephant Man's just sitting there, and I think he's doing like Shakespeare or something, because he loves that. And they all come in, and they all grab him, and they're throwing him around and pouring alcohol in his mouth, and as they're tossing him about, they're playing this music, and it absolutely brilliant because it was David Lynch. But for me, it was just terrifying, and I absolutely hated it. You know, I went to bed that night absolutely terrified. I couldn't stand it, and it really did affect me for years as well, guys. This was years. You know, it wasn't like a few nights and then it was alright. I could not watch this film anymore after that. Luckily, me and Travers Lassance, when we met up, and here's a weird story, she was at school and a teacher said, has anyone seen the Elephant Man movie? That no one had. So I said, I'll bring it in tomorrow, and they all sat and watched it, and it terrified her too. How weird is that? So I said, right, well, let's both watch it. It's on Prime. Oh, and guys, the print is absolutely perfect. It's from 1980. It looks like it was made yesterday. And we watched it, and we was fine. And we now see the film as it is, which is an absolute masterpiece. But yeah, I mean, but back then when I was 10 years old, it really scared the bejesus out of me. It was just so, I mean, the film's so creepy anyway, because of the way David Lynch makes movies. But yeah, honestly, you know, I look back now and think, what was the big deal? And that's all I can think of. It was just taking something like that that's normally a horror film and making it into a drama, making a drama out of it. So that's all I can think. But you know, I'm fine now. I watch it all the time. It's a brilliant film and looks amazing. So yeah, it was that movie, and if you've never seen it, guys, watch it, but be prepared to cry your eyes out, because it's a really sad, depressing film, but a brilliant film too. Also, while I'm here, if anyone's still listening, there's another version of Blue Velvet, which is another David Lynch movie, and it's an extended cut. If you're a Lynch fan and you love the film Blue Velvet, watch the extended cut. As far as I know, it's only on YouTube, but it looks so much better than the Blu-ray anyway. The colour's better. It looks amazing, and there is so much more in it. It's like a different movie. It's really cool. Yeah, and I watched that the other day, not even knowing, and again, you have a lot of bits in it, parts that only David Lynch can do, and it, you know, makes it a lot more strange, a lot more weird, and you know, that's what I love about his movies. But you know, okay, so guys, sorry Prime, if you've tried this, let me know what you think, guys. I really don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'll give that 4 out of 10. I don't like it at all, sorry. But The Elephant Man, definitely 9 out of 10. It is a superb film, really good film. If you've never watched it, please do. And let me know what you think, guys. I mean, has anyone ever seen it when they were young? Because I was only about 10 at the time. But, you know, like I said, I'd watched every horror movie going, and it never affected me like that. So yeah, let me know in the comments. I hope you're all doing well. At the moment, my house is like Amityville. I've got a big massive leak in my kitchen, which I've got to phone them up today and try and get sorted out. It's full of cobwebs and spiders, and it's very, very soon. But in the meantime, have yourself